So that's what this.
Ready, Nance? Of the Dunkirk Common Council to order at 5:04 p.m. on August 18th. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Councilmember Bamanto? Here. Councilmember Stoyl?
Here.
Councilmember Nichols?
Here.
Councilmember at-large Vandenboer?
He is excused. In the regular meeting, we're going to need to, I believe, make a motion to put me or whoever else you want up here for to be in place of Paul for the regular meeting. Just do a motion and a second and a roll call, I believe, is how we've done it in the past.
Yep.
We're going to skip over the certification.
Stand for the pledge.
Oh, got to stand for the pledge. I didn't read that other part there. Thanks, Nance. Stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Nance.
Sure.
Can't forget that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. All right, we're skipping over certification, reading of privilege of the floor, regulations, and the privilege of the floor. Communications from the mayor, including disapproval messages. The mayor isn't, that's not the mayor. Communications from the public and petitions.
Number 1 is a ratification of the request from Express Employment Professionals to use the municipal lot across from the Clarion Hotel and Marina on August 19, 2020 from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. for a drive-through job fair.
We would need a motion to refer this, or actually to vote on it, because we already, I think you'll be okay. Jidge first.
Nichols.
Nichols second. Yep.
Number 2, communication from George H. Burns III of 13 Carroll Street, Fredonia, regarding the elimination of parking spots along the water treatment plant and outside the Dunkirk Yacht Club underutilized space at Memorial Park, suggestions for the underutilized area, and request to resolve many of the parking spaces that were eliminated, or restore, I should say.
I'm going to probably refer this to probably a couple different committees. Probably DPW could probably talk about that, and probably Health and Safety could probably talk about that, or the Safety Committee, whatever.
Yeah, we talked.
You did talk about it? All right.
No, I mean, we did.
Okay.
But we were going to have some removed.
Yeah.
And then,
We'll other than that, this will be received and filed, but we'll push it on to a couple other committees to talk about it further. But for here, until we get anything else.
Could you add economic development too, because Rebecca wants to weigh in on this one.
And economic development. So somebody needs to make a motion to, first by Marty, to get it to economic development, safety, and DPW, and second by Nichols. Okay, thank you. Yep.
Number 3, request from Wells Enterprises Incorporated and Kids at Promise 2XL Plus to have a beach cleanup at Point Gratiot on August 23, 2020 from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m.
Need a motion with all the usuals. First by Marty.
Doyle.
Second by Stoyl. Okay.
Number 4, loudspeaker application request from Express Employment Professionals in case there is noise from the participating vehicles.
Can we just lump these three? We're going to lump the 3 loudspeaker permits together if you just want to read them all together, and then we only need one.
Okay. Number 2, or a second loudspeaker application request from the First Ward Falcon Club to use the band equipment and movie equipment at their club's annual street dance weekend, September 4th through 6th, 2020, should the event be allowed to proceed with social distancing because of COVID. And the 3rd application is for request from Rosalia Kauf for permission to have a small setup of a radio, speakers, and maybe a guitar hookup at the lower pavilion on August 22nd, 2020 from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. during a birthday party.
Any discussion on any of the loudspeaker permits?
Yeah, I don't understand number 4, of in case there is noise from the participant vehicles.
Rebecca,
They might need to have a megaphone or something because it might be too noisy from the tractor trailers going up and down Lakeshore Drive. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, they said they most likely won't need a loudspeaker, but just in case.
Any other questions? If not, need a motion to accept the loudspeaker or grant it pending, I believe that's other department heads. First by Councilwoman Nichols,
Doyle.
second by Councilman Stoyl. Number 7, reports to standing committees, boards, and commissions.
Okay, that's, goes on. All right, so there's a walk-on communication request from Steve Fournier, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Army, to utilize at least the last 50 feet of the parking lot in Point Gratiot Park for training September 15th through the 18th, 2020, and permission to use the site for water purification training during those days.
Do we have a copy of that at all? 'Cause I haven't. I haven't, sir. You know, in the touch base. All right, just with some of these things, and I know it's been said before up here, there's some time things that we all need at times, and for things to come in at last minute, it's kind of rough, but whatever the rest of the council feels on it, this is the September 15th through 18th.
Who is this for?
For the National Guard.
Make a motion. Yeah, they're okay.
I'm good
Motion
with
to
it.
approve. By Stoyl. Second by Bomano. All right.
You can hang on.
All right, thanks.
That's okay. Yes. Absolutely.
All right, any reports, Councilman Bomano?
Randy, just one question. I'm way over here tonight. What's going on Swan Street under the viaduct?
I don't know.
It's blocked off, part of the road. 300 block?
Did that just happen today?
Yep. I came home from work at 2:30, coming up Swan.
I'll check it out after the meeting.
Okay.
I'll send you a text.
Okay.
Randy, if it helps, I noticed it also, I don't think it's water.
No.
It's some other company that's in the yellow flags, whatever that is.
Gas company.
It's got the big yellow
Yeah.
caution sign
Yeah,
on the road.
yeah.
It's likely the gas company, but I will check that out and send you a text.
That it?
That's all.
Councilman Stoyl?
Nothing for her.
All right. Councilman, and nothing for me here either. Unfinished business.
Okay, so we have we're going to be voting on the resolution for intro number 7 to local law number 7, 2020. City of Dunkirk, a local law to amend City Code Chapter 76, Section 70.
All right, during the meeting, we'll need a motion to take it off the table, and then a second, and then a vote on that, and a vote on the resolution. Number 9, pre-filed resolutions.
Number 86, resolution authorizing change for the 1st September 2020 Common Council meeting.
Any discussion? Next one.
Number 87, resolution accepting contract for Willowbrook Storage Tank Transmission Main under 2009 consent order.
Any discussion? All right, 88.
Number 88, resolution authorizing renewal agreement with State of New York Unified Court Systems for city court cleaning and minor repairs. Contract April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021.
Any discussion? All right, number 10, new business, any new business? Motion to adjourn the workshop session.
Make a motion.
Motion by Councilwoman Nichols, second by Councilman Stoyl.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Workshop's adjourned.
We got 5 minutes until the...
Yep. Until the public hearing.
better?
Okay, I'd like to open the public hearing.
This is a notice of public hearing. Please take notice that at a regular meeting of the City of Dunkirk Common Council held on August 4, 2020, resolution number 85-2020 was presented to the Common Council, which resolution is entitled, Intro Number 7 to Local Law Number 7-2020, City of Dunkirk, a local law to amend City Code, Chapter 76, Section 70. Please take further notice that a public hearing will be held on Resolution Number 85-2020 on Tuesday, August 18th, 2020 at 5:20 p.m. in the Common Council chambers to hear any and all interested parties. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, all interested parties can submit comments to the public hearing to the council at cityofdunkirk.com or at the city clerk's office before noon Tuesday, August 18, 2020. All interested persons must include their first and last name as well as their home address with their comments.
All right, thank you.
So I have two.
Tutoria, you got the one in the Dropbox?
Yes.
Okay, thanks.
We'll start with that one.
All right.
August 17, 2020, public hearing resolution number 85-2020. I would ask the City Council not only pass Resolution 85-2020 regarding speed limit reduction to 15 miles per hour around and through Wright Park, but to also either amend the resolution or support an additional resolution that would also reduce speed limit to 15 miles per hour from North Main Street along the entire Lakefront Boulevard to Wright Park. I feel it is a necessity to secure the safety of all that enjoy the many recreational activities performed in the area: beach, walkers, runners, bikers, etc. If we are truly trying to market the area as a waterfront destination, then we should also consider the health and safety of those attending and practicing a healthy lifestyle while in the area. Respectfully, Deborah Rozumowski, 376 Lakeshore Drive East, and there's a petition. I'm sorry, this is an additional one?
Okay.
Okay. So that was that. Monday, August 17, attention City of Dunkirk Common Council members, public hearing August 20, resolution number 85-2020. On behalf of the residents of North Serval, North Wright Park, and North Warsaw Street, we ask the entire City Council to support and pass resolution number 85-2020, which would reduce the speed limit to 15 miles per hour from intersections of Lakeshore Drive East and the above-mentioned streets, as well as East Pine Street from North Serval to North Warsaw Street. We are concerned for the safety of those living in the area, those attending school, and as well as any individuals visiting the park system. Paul Sommerfeld, Monday, 8/17/2020. Dear Common Council, the Dunkirk Citizens Advisory Committee applauds the decision by the Common Council to address speed limit concerns within the City of Dunkirk. However, we do not support Resolution 85-2020 as written. The resolution goes too far at the same time that the resolution does not go far enough in improving the safety of residents and visitors, young and old. The resolution should be withdrawn, rewritten, or shortened, and clarified the proposed reduced speed limit. Additionally, there are other sections of that section of the code that have neglected some streets that have always had reduced speed limits, and another set of streets that should have speed zones reintroduced due to the reuse of a facility. The CIC recommends that instead of the constant Band-Aid approach to the sections of the city code, the Common Council address all of the shortcomings in a section of the code each time they propose modifications. The Common Council should not continue to pass bad habits of kicking the can down the road. leaving it to future generations to repair errors and omissions. Relevant chapters in the Dunkirk City Code are Chapter 76, Chapter 24, Chapter 49. Chapter 49, Section 2C defines the extent of Wright Park, including the streets, both open and paper, that mark the boundaries of the park. Resolution number 85-2020 is a subset of these streets, so Wright Park covers more streets than the resolution covers. Chapter 76, Resolution, Section 70, A-2.2 establishes a speed limit of 25 miles per hour on all drives, streets, highways, and roadways within the confines of Wright Park. Resolution number 85-2020 establishes 8.4 to the code. This has the effect of having two different speed limits covering most of, but not all of Wright Park area. Instead of adding section 8.4, the CAC recommends changing the wording of section 8.2 to read 15 miles per hour is hereby established as the maximum speed limit as which vehicles may proceed upon, end quote. This will have the added benefit of reducing the speed limit in Point Gratiot from 25 miles per hour down to the posted 15 miles per hour. Resolution 85-2020, rather than just establishing the lower speed limit, also provides the reasoning behind the speed limit change. The CAC recommends against the inclusion of those descriptions as they open up a can of worms. The basketball courts mentioned are enclosed in a fence, yet there are other basketball courts in the city that are not fenced in. Will the city establish reduced speed limits in the vicinity of those courts? There are also other baseball fields in the city, including at the point where the speed limit in the code is 25 miles per hour. In addition to the baseball field, there is a playground and tennis court on or near Lucas Avenue where the speed limit is 30 miles per hour. Since the Common Council is addressing the issue of the speed limit in and around Wright Park, the Common Council should correct the other shortcoming in the code. The speed limit on the city pier is not included in section 70, maximum speed limits, and that oversight should be corrected. This would help the city leaders, employees, and residents by having all the maximum speed limits in one location in the city code. Section 70, 8.3 should be reviewed for completeness and accuracy. School 3 has no school speed limit for Lanphier, Grant Avenue, or Orchard Street. School 5 has no speed limit for Brooks Avenue, Nichols Avenue, or West 2nd Street. School 7 has no speed limit for Lakeshore Drive East or Pine Street. P-Tech Academy has no speed limit listed at all. St. Hyacinth School closed in 2007. Does the Boys and Girls Club that is now there qualify for a school speed limit? The former School 6 had no reduced speed limit after it stopped being a school. Does the Baptist School on Central Avenue need a school speed limit zone? Again, the CAC agrees with the intent of the proposed law. However, we recommend that the Common Council develop a more complete law that improves safety while at the same time does not needlessly complicate the city code. Thank you, Paul Sommerfeld, Chairman, Dunkirk Citizens Advisory Committee.
Councilman, I have a comment.
I have one more.
When you're done, because you can't see me.
I can't. Here, I'll move over more.
Frank Beach,
Then I can see
Dunkirk
Beach.
Common Council. Speed limit changes. A recent proposal to amend the speed limit at and around Wright Park and the east end of Lakefront Boulevard will be a valued improvement to the area. The bottom line is, as we continue to improve the area for walkers, joggers, bikers, our children, tourists, and others by making it more attractive and attraction, so too do we make it a driver's distraction, as well as a higher traffic area. The health and safety of all should and appears to be priority one. This is also true for the west end of Lakefront Boulevard, and once repaired, so too will it be for the entire length of Lakefront Boulevard. Lowering the speed limit to 15 miles per hour from Main Street to Beagle under current conditions is needed due to the greatly increased popularity of Main Street Beach, the curve at Main Street, Lakefront at the beach, the public rooms, restrooms being on the south side of the lakefront across from the beach, and as noted above, the increase in walkers, joggers, bikers, general vehicle traffic, as well as the greatly increased volume of traffic. The impact of this change would be minimal to the residents, property owners on the lakefront. Only 4 residents front Lakefront Boulevard with ingress needs, and 2 of those have additional egress available via side streets. As one of those residents who lives directly on Lakefront, I, as well as my neighbors, see firsthand the challenges and dangers we need to minimize. Any consideration and/or further discussion before a final decision on this would be greatly appreciated. Frank Beach, 11 Lakefront Boulevard, Dunkirk, New York.
That's it for those?
I believe that is it.
Yeah, I was just, Councilman Bomano had asked about saying something. I had just suggested that we just make our comments during the council meeting, or if anybody thinks that we should say it here, but I think at the public hearing.
Just a heads up, we had a public safety committee last week. We went over a lot of this stuff, and the chief presented us with a study that actually says the slower you do it, the more accidents are going to happen, because people are going to get ticked off and they want to pass and want to keep doing this. And if you keep it at a steady speed, you know, Christ almighty, we can't be popping around from one corner on 4th Street down to Brigham Road because there's a basketball court. But they're going to come speeding down 4th Street and then hit the brakes at what, Temple Street? Or I understand what they're after, but the whole city's in slow motion, for Christ's sakes, for the last 4 months as it is. But we will discuss this further.
Okay.
I'm hoping that will calm them down a little bit. I mean, we're going to go, this is going to go to Public Works, it's going back to the Safety Committee, and any other committee they want us to put on it.
I believe during that, I was in that meeting also, and the part about the west part of Lakeshore Drive, Lakefront Boulevard from Main Street on, we basically shot that down because of the input from the chief.
Basically, what we look at when we do traffic safety studies is for a road with that length, to put it all down to 15 doesn't make any sense because you slow traffic down too much. And knock on wood, I don't want to jinx this, but to do a traffic safety study, we have that many accidents in that area. I mean, if you change it, you may end up with more issues that are going to be more accidents, and then we become liable for that when we have a good, safe traffic flow there now. Traffic safety studies will show you that slowing traffic down is actually detrimental and may cause more accidents than leaving traffic at a steady flow. Secondly, having a section of road that length, if you put part of it at 15 and part of it at 30 and part of it at 25, is just going to create more issues than we need on top of it. Rather than leaving it at one steady speed, we can run radar down there to enforce it. But splitting it up doesn't make any sense from a traffic safety point of view on one street to split it into separate speed limits, trying to keep it at one speed limit. I know the reasoning behind what we are proposing here tonight was there is a very big conglomerate of Little League field, softball field, school, water park, Promenade Stadium, all in one very small confined area that we can control. If we put the speed limits down on just basically 2 streets is all we're doing, with the cross street and Pine Street that runs directly in front of all of the Little League fields. I know we hold state tournaments in this area constantly in a normal year. So doing it in that park area setting, we just wanted to concentrate on that one area because there is a very large area of Little League field and park involved just in that one area. I understand some of the comments that are coming out that the spot checking speed limit signs all over the city is not going to be conducive for good traffic safety issues.
Plus, I think, Rebecca, is that playground going to happen?
Yes.
Yes.
So that's another part of that story.
That's just we discussed this at our public safety committee meeting. You know, in my experience, that's just my opinion. You know, you guys can rule as you feel.
I agree with you.
My opinion and from a public safety standpoint.
And also, like what Jidge was saying, you know, 4th Street, because of basketball court, remember the 60s and the 70s and 80s when there was all kinds of people living here and all kinds of industry? At 4 o'clock, the steel plant would get out, kids would walk home to school, they would walk back and forth for lunch.
Yep.
And we didn't have any speed issues then. So that's getting overboard.
As far as the school zones, basically where we have the school zones are where we have the crossing guards. Some of the other schools that have large parking lots that are up on Upper Central Avenue, they unload and unload and discharge the students in a parking lot in the rear of the building. Where we have the school zones down to 15 are where you see the crossing guards where children are crossing to get to the schools and they're crossing streets. That is the reason for the original reason under Chief Yanni for the reduced school zone speed was where we have the crossing guards that are actually crossing children to slow that traffic down. Other schools that have parking lots and discharge and load and unload kids in parking lots and areas where the kids are not crossing the street don't have those zones, and that's the reasoning for it.
Chief, like on School 5, for instance, on 2nd Street, next to the school, and the street next to it, that's considered a school. That's a 15-mile-an-hour anyway, isn't it?
I don't know if, I don't believe the 2nd Street is posted, it's a dead-end street on that side of School 5.
No, you can go right around the whole building.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, but it basically goes into Dan's Moving and Storage at the end of the street. Those blocks are so short, they're really, you know, if there's 10 cars a day that drive on it, that's a lot.
I would just, because they're attached to the school area, I thought that was automatic.
I'd have to check the code, I don't think those are, I think just Brigham Road is around School 5, because that's where the crossing guard is at Brigham and 2nd.
Right. And you had the signage at Brigham and Lakeshore Drive.
Correct.
Stayed in the times, 15 mile an hour.
Because the crossing guard is at Brigham and 2nd, that's where they cross the kids, that's why we have the school zone to slow the cars down where that crossing guard is.
In the high school, 6th Street and Marauder, you've got the signs stationed there.
I guess I'll weigh in too then. As somebody that lives down in that area, although this year with all the ends of the streets going to Lakefront Boulevard being shut off, or most of them shut off, the speed isn't a problem this year. But in the past, it just seems like there's a need by some people that are driving that once they stop at the stop sign on Pine Street, it's like a race to see how fast they can get down to Lakefront Boulevard. And then when we talk about it and you set up radar, that they're good then. They see you guys and they slow down. So I don't know a happy medium that we can come up with, but I guess that's why we have those other committees and meetings to figure out what we can do to change that. I know there's been a lot of, I've asked about it before on Roberts Road. I've had a family down there ask about the speed limit, and then I've also had our favorite Dunkirk citizen there, or one of them at least, Mallory Wachinski, ask several times about doing radar and stopping, slowing the people down there. So there are a lot of issues in that area, and it seems, like I said, it seems like they want to go as fast as they can from Pine Street to Lakefront, or from Lakeshore Drive to Lakefront. So I understand the concern by a lot of the citizens that live in the area that wrote those letters, and I also feel the same way they do. I think I said before, I'd like to see everything north of Pine Street 15 miles, but I also understand what the chief is saying and what my fellow council members are saying, that, you know, just knocking it down for everything might be a little ridiculous. But there is an issue there in normal summers when we have Lakefront Boulevard open. So we got to think and try to come up with something. With that being said, anybody else have any? What?
Can I weigh in?
Yeah, sure.
I just wanted to say, not so much about reducing the speed limit, but at the bathrooms adjacent to the Main Street beach, if there were the yellow special crosswalks that would be put in there, I think that would reduce the traffic inherently, or slow it down inherently coming around the corner, and I think it would make that corner a lot safer.
I agree.
Very good idea.
At least they'll be cautious.
Right,
And they'll see it.
and also too, once Lakefront Boulevard's open, that corner's not as congested as it is. I mean, it's a lot of the problems right at that corner on North Main and Lakefront Boulevard is just because they don't have that much to park down there, so.
Randy, I know you guys, when you've been putting the crosswalks up now, you put those big bright yellowish lime green signs up along with them that have, that they are crosswalks.
I just have.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, those stand out, so I think that, that's something I think we could work on, and that's a good idea. I would support that 100%.
Yeah, so
Not a problem. When we fix the wall, we'll do that at the same time.
Great, thank you, Evan.
All right, and Councilwoman Nichols?
I just had a comment for Jidge when he went to his public safety is if when Lakefront Boulevard is totally done, completely done, they could just have the solid no passing stripe all the way down it.
And then sure, DPW director would be able to get that done somewhere along the line with the county striping truck. Once Lakefront Boulevard is done, a double yellow line down the middle so that there's no passing.
Yeah, absolutely. Once we get that rebuilt, it's had a double yellow line before. We covered it up with a new flushing pavement on it, so it's not there. But after we get the wall fixed, the double yellow will go back to there.
Good to me.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Anybody else care to weigh in on it? Marshall, you live down there, although Frank sent something in already, but. All right, workshop adjourned. Anybody need time, or are we gonna?
Public hearing.
Wanna go, or public hearing, sorry, not workshop.
Get right into the meeting.
Right in the meeting. All right, we'll call the regular council meeting of the Dunkirk City Council, August 18th, 2020 to order.
I need a motion for you to be the chair.
We're gonna get that right as soon as we call the order. Or call the order and roll call.
Councilmember Williams?
Here.
Councilmember Bamanto? Here. Councilmember Stoyl?
Here.
Councilmember Nichols?
Here.
Councilmember at-large Vandenboer?
He is absent and excused. With the councilman at large being excused, we need a motion to fill his spot while he's gone.
I make a motion, Donald takes the place.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for me to fill in for Councilman Vandenboer.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we go into the certification of the prior meetings, I just want to say we have Councilman Vandenboer is excused for the meeting today, and Assessor Tom Malechko is excused for today. And I would just like to, on behalf of everybody here at the city, give our deepest sympathy to both families. They're going through some loss, and our thoughts and prayers are with them through their time of grief. Number 2, certification of prior meetings, and resolution dispensing of the reading of the minutes.
This is to certify that an official copy of the minutes of the Common Council meeting of Tuesday, August 4, 2020 was presented to the mayor on Thursday, August 13, 2020. Pursuant to Section 3.03 of the Dunkirk City Charter, all items presented to the mayor are now in full force and effect. In witness whereof I have hereto set my hand and the seal of the city of Dunkirk, New York, this 18th day of August 2020.
I need a motion to dispense the reading of the minutes.
Nichols.
First by Councilwoman Nichols, second by Councilman Stoyl.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried. Reading of the privilege of the floor regulations
I
and the
only
privilege
have
of the floor.
one letter for a privilege of the floor.
I think that one is too.
I'm sorry, this one I'm gonna...
That one wasn't read yet.
Says, "Dear council members, I'm writing this letter in opposition to the Dunkirk Yacht Club and their parking situation. I've been walking my dog around Memorial Park for at least 30 years. I have had the honor of Yacht Club members riding my butt with their cars so that they can park and get to the club. My neighbors who rides his bike having had the same treatment. They have no consideration for anyone except themselves. I'm typing this letter this Sunday night. After walking my dog, you had people at the yacht club parked in handicapped parking spaces without tags in the windows or plates. They were also parked in the front, in the first responders parking spaces. This is not an unusual occurrence. As far as a 30-minute parking spot, they will stay there all night. A few weeks ago, one person faked his vehicle being broken down. The next morning, he drove away. It took me nearly 2 years to have these signs put up, except the 30-minute one. That was someone else's bright idea. Unless you put up meters by those 30-minute signs, they are a waste. Change them to one first responder and one handicap sign. That part of the park was always for police parking only. You have the Sheriff's Department, DEC, Border Patrol, New York State Police, and local police agencies utilizing that parking area while they go out to their boats. There can be anywhere from 2 to 10 vehicles parked there from those agencies. There was no parking for the yacht club until the new water tower was being put up. The old signs were taken down, and all of a sudden, here comes the yacht club. They did not care for their handicapped members, people who would race down for the first parking spot, and when they came out, they were quite healthy individuals. They now want to park on the grass. Many times I witnessed after the ground was soggy, these people parked on the grass anyway. Plenty of ruts were put in the grass. I felt sorry for the young man cutting the grass because he was bouncing all over the place from the ruts. Another reason I wanted those signs up was the yacht club took all of the parking places while the police agencies had to park on Lakeshore Drive or on an outside of the filtration plant. In my old-fashioned way, seconds count to a first responder. Again, these people showed no respect for that. This is Memorial Park, and it belongs to the community, not the yacht club. As one of our late mayors used to say, 95% of those people don't live or pay taxes in the city, yet we kiss their butt. I found out this Sunday that this petition was coming out for a vote. Otherwise, I would have been collecting signatures against this proposal. Thank you for reading this letter and considering why I am against the Dunkirk Yacht Club proposal. I would also like to pick up your dog poop sign put up in front of the yacht club put back. I spoke to Mayor Fry about it because people were bringing Fifi and Fofo off the boat, and Fifi and Fofo would go poo-poo, and no one would clean up to put it back on the boat.
All righty. Not really a straight face.
What do you think, Judge?
So, COVID-19 update in Mallory. Mallory Wachinski, I am giving you update information my rest of my year. COVID-19 changed my plans. You please share it just to let everyone know. For the Halloween candy drive this year, because of COVID-19, we will be accepting candy donations only from November 1st to November 8th for Roswell. There will be no additional drop-off site, 11 North Roberts Road, Dunkirk, New York, Halloween Drive. Again, due to COVID-19, the first Christmas drive for the Dunkirk Fredonia Senior Center is postponed. I am hoping to be able to do something at Easter 2021. This year for the Christmas season, I am going to make memory bracelets for $5 each. I will sell them from October 30th to December 1st. Please let me know the colors you want. Hi Mal, Fantastic Friends of Western New York. All the money going to, all checks made out to Fantastic Friends Western New York. All money sent to Mallory Wachinski, 11 North Roberts Road, Dunkirk, New York, 14048. Thank you all for your support from Mallory.
All right, thank you, Mallory, for everything you do. That's it?
That's what I got. Yes.
All right, communications from the mayor, including disapproval messages.
I just have 3 quick announcements. The first one is the Express Employment Professionals will be hosting a drive-through job fair in the city's public parking lot at the corner of Lakeshore Drive and Washington Street tomorrow, Wednesday, August 19th, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. They will be hiring for many of our local manufacturing companies for employment as packers, machine operators, general laborers, and additional positions. If anyone in the public is in need of a job, please see what our local companies are offering. The COVID Mortgage and Rental Relief Program, the City of Dunkirk and Chautauqua Opportunities are announcing the availability of funding to assist city residents with up to 3 months of past due rent or mortgage payments. Those eligible must have suffered a loss of income due to COVID-19. This assistance is available to individuals and families whose household income is less than 80% of the area median income. The household must be considered rent burdened, which is defined as paying more than 30% of gross monthly income towards rent. Those who are interested should contact Chautauqua Opportunities Incorporated immediately by calling 366-8176, Monday through Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m., and ask to speak to a navigator about the City of Dunkirk Rent Mortgage Relief Program. I also want to inform the public that Wright Park Beach will be manned by lifeguards until Labor Day from Tuesday through Sunday, starting April 23rd, 2019. The beach at the point will not be manned with lifeguards as of that date for the rest of the season, and that's because of our lifeguards going back to school.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Communications from the public and petitions.
Number 1, ratification of the request from Express Employment Professionals to use the municipal parking lot across from the Clarion Hotel and Marina on August 19, 2020, from 9 a.m. until 4 p.m. for a drive-through job fair.
Any discussion? I just have one, just in the future, if they could give us a little bit more of a heads up, that would help out a lot instead of having to do any approval outside of a council meeting. Any other discussion on that? Need a motion to ratify?
Gigi did, and I did.
By Jidge. Councilman Stoyl, sorry.
Right.
Second.
Nichols.
Second by Councilwoman Nichols.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto? Aye. Councilmember Stoyl?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried. Next.
Okay, number 2, communication from George H. Burns III of 13 Carroll Street, Fredonia, regarding the elimination of parking spots along the water treatment plant and outside the Dunkirk Yacht Club. Underutilized space at Memorial Park, suggestions for the underutilized area, and request to restore many of the parking spaces that were eliminated.
Motion to refer this to, I believe we were doing DPW, safety, and economic development.
First,
By Councilman Bomano.
Nichols.
Second by Councilwoman Nichols.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried.
Number 3, request from Wells Enterprises Incorporated and Kids at Promise 2XL Plus to have a beach cleanup at Point Gratiot on August 23rd, 2020, from 9 a.m. until 1 p.m.
Any discussion? Need a motion to, by Councilman Bomano, second by Councilman Stoyl.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried.
We're going to group all the loudspeaker applications together. Loudspeaker application request from Express Employment Professionals in case there's a noise from the participating vehicles. Number 5, loudspeaker application request from the First Ward Falcon Club to use band equipment and movie equipment at their club's annual street dance weekend, September 4th through 6th, 2020, should the event be allowed to proceed with social distancing because of COVID. Number 6, loudspeaker application request from Rosalia Kauf for permission to have a small setup of a radio speakers and maybe a guitar hookup at the lower pavilion on August 22nd, 2020, from 6 p.m. till 8 p.m. during the birthday party.
Any discussion? Need a motion to accept pending approval from all the departments?
Nichols.
By Councilwoman Nichols, second by Councilman Stoyl.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried.
I have a walk-in communication request from Steve Fournier, Second Lieutenant, U.S. Army, USA, to utilize the last 50 feet of the parking lot in Point Gratiot Park for training September 15th through 18th, 2020, and permission to use the site for water purification training during those dates.
Any discussion? Again, I just want to add on top of there, just for the meeting too, that if we have more advanced notice for these things, it makes it a lot easier for us knowing what we're actually approving here in the council meeting. We did get copies of the letter in between meetings and workshops and public hearings, so we do have it now, but in the future, if they could please do that. I know it's a good organization, but a lot of times, a lot of good organizations are late on things and expect us to just rush and push it through. So, any other discussion? Need a motion to...
Nichols.
Motion by Councilwoman Nichols. Second by... Second by Councilman Bomano.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried. Reports to standing committees, boards, and commissions. Councilman Bomano?
A few things. Next Thursday, August 27th, 4 p.m., we're going to have a we're going to have a finance meeting in the mayor's conference room, open to the public, social distancing. Over the weekend, I was at the Lake Shore Humane Society yard sale, and I was pretty impressed how organized they are. They had all kinds of tents up, social distancing, they had food, and they had a lot of stuff for sale in there, and I came home with a box of stuff, so kudos to them, and looking forward to helping them out again sometime. And also, I went to stop over at Washington Park after that, and Black in Action people had their first annual gathering, and happened to know a couple of those guys, Mr. Robinson and Mr. Buchanan. Sat down and talked to them for a while, and I like what they're doing. I hope they keep it up. If they need any help from the city, please let us know. On Sunday, I made it over to 2XL, had a dinner over at the Peach Rose, drive-through dinner, and very successful. Apparently, they ran out of food, and had a long talk with David White, and looking forward to more of their things for them, for fundraising and helping out the youth in the area. Like was said in the agenda here, they're helping out the city and residents with a cleanup at the point on Sunday. And I'd like to reach out to all three of these, also small town big names. I met with those people too, and they all have the same thing they wanted to accomplish with the youth in the area. A couple of these groups want to just have geared towards the older teenagers, and some with the kids, and some with all of them. And I suggest, they all want to do some type of fundraising. I suggest possibly getting together and all three groups do one fundraiser and have a big thing in one of the parks at some time when we can social distance. And you still have your own entity, but do it all together sometime. And the city can help you out. You can get a hold of us at any time for any of the activities you guys want to do in the future. And this is the last meeting before Labor Day, so everybody have a safe Labor Day weekend. And we'll see you August 31st, I think. Right? This isn't the last meeting before Labor Day. One more.
We'll see you on that date anyway.
But our meeting got moved to August 31st, a Monday.
Yes.
Because it's kids' night out the following day. So we're ready for that. Right, Chief? That's all I got.
Okay. Councilman Stoyl?
Yeah, we had a safety committee last week with the chief and the other chief, all kinds of chiefs.
Indians.
We discussed what we're talking about tonight, and I guess we're going to be getting back together very soon, and we'll go over this thing again. Mike informed us, the fire chief informed us about the ambulance situation in this area. The chief is right on top of these parks area where we have trouble with homeless people in this city, and it's continuing to this day. And the mayor informed us about how our lovely partners in health, Brooks Hospital, has discontinued mental, right?
They will planning to do.
Which means that either our police cars or the fire department, the next place is WCA, and they've got 3 beds. And we all know at Jamestown, those beds are probably filled 95% of the time. which then leads to Olean, and then from there to Niagara Falls. That's a big expense on the city. So we're hoping, like I believe, Mayor, you were going to try to talk to some of the leaders around, maybe put some pressure.
Yes, I did. I did present at the Chadwick Baker meeting, and they agreed to...
Mayor, could you just go to the microphone, just so that if they can hear you on it? Thanks, sorry.
So I did attend the Chadwick Bay Group meeting Thursday evening, and at that meeting, I did present to them the issue. They have agreed to go ahead and come forward with a signed letter collaboratively from all of them. So hopefully it'll make a difference.
Well, thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, Mayor, don't leave yet. Go back up.
Don't you say chicken.
I don't know if you can give us an update on anything from FEMA with Lakefront Boulevard. It is the middle of August, and if you can put more pressure on them to start something before we have to do, I know I talked to Randy about it, and there is concerns with, we never know what the weather's going to do to us. Is that right now we're having September weather, last month we had August weather, and I know the road is closed down for the winter, but progress should have been, and I know Mr. St. George is ready to go.
Absolutely. So on our end of it, the engineers and the contractor are all ready to go. Unfortunately, FEMA is still working on their end of it, so we are at their mercy waiting for them. We have made contact with our elected federal officials and representatives of our district, and they are helping us out to try to squeeze them as hard as we can, but at this point, I have no further updates.
What is, do you know what the delay is?
The delay is that their estimate of damage, money-wise, is not anywhere near where the real damage amount is. So we have asked I've stopped the project, and I've waited, and I've asked for our elected federal officials to look into this a little further to see if we can get more funding from them.
And if not, what happens?
If not, then we have to find a way to fix this wall, and, we're going to have to pay for it if it's more than what they're giving. So the real battle right now is to make sure that we get funded appropriately, because if we don't, then we're going to have to sit down and figure that one out as well.
Thank you.
Is there any possibility of going after the original engineer to pay for the damages?
That's a question for the engineers. I would defer that to our DPW director and the engineers that we've hired. I actually questioned that immediately when this thing happened, so that's something also that we had looked into, but right now the immediate concern is obviously to get it repaired as soon as possible.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor, when was the estimate on the seawall? When was that done? The cost of it?
You're talking about the inspection, or you're talking about when we received the report?
When we received the report.
We received the report, I believe it was 2 weeks ago, if I'm not mistaken. Since we received the report, I have met with the regional directors of our federal elected officials, including Senator Gillibrand, Senator Schumer, Congressman Reed. So we have been in contact with all of the electeds involved in this, and we're hoping that we will get some assistance. I have faith, and I believe, I'm very hopeful that very soon we'll get some progress on this.
Anybody know how long the price and everything is going to be to fix it for the contractor that we approved? I mean, is that going to last a while? Is that going to change? Are we going to have to rebid? Is anything going on
at
with
this
that?
point, I've actually sat down with our development director as well as our DPW director to let them know that we may be forced to rebid it and maybe change the project that we were going to do, the design that we were going to do, so that it fits the budget. We are absolutely not in position to take on, money-wise, that project.
Okay, thank you.
That's all I have for you, Mayor. Thank you. Thank you a lot. Rebecca, as long as the mayor said that about we might have to come up with additional funding, is there any chance that there could be grants available to give us some assistance with that?
So, unfortunately, right now, all of the New York State grant funding through the CFA has not been released, and I don't look at seeing it released in 2020. And that would be some water improvement projects that we could possibly go after, our local waterfront revitalization plan to help get some grant funding for that project. But as of now, since the state doesn't have the grants open, that's kind of the only avenue that we would be able to find funding.
So that would nix also when we talked at the development meeting, planning and development about a drainage, the issues that we have with the drainage problems throughout the city. So that would nix that idea as well as looking for a grant for that?
Yeah, I'm guessing that it won't come out until 2021.
Okay, and as well as looking for one for the necessary repairs at the boardwalk with the porch and all that other work?
That we could look at different avenues of grant funding. There might be something out there smaller that we can look for.
Yeah, Mr. Woodbury and I had discussed that, and there was possibility that we could do that. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's in dire straits, where if down the road someone wants to put it up on the market to sell, you have to take care of it now before it really deteriorates. That decking, the porches, it needs to be done correctly. Mr. Woodbury and I have been down there many times looking at it, and Judge has as well. It just, the top part where I thought was copper, it's actually rust coming through the window casings up in the top of the boardwalk. Thanks. Keep us posted.
Okay, yep, I will.
And welcome back.
Yes. Randy, thank the guys for making sure that the dockings that were destroyed in the October storm were taken away by our guys. But as we had discussed before, Mr. Pringle is going to accept the responsibility of paying back the city for the hours our crews have put out?
Yes, Councilman, thanks for that question. Before we sent our crew out there, I have a well-preserved text message from the marina operator saying, committing to paying for all of the work that the city would do to do that. And so we did it, and we're going to send them a bill accordingly.
Thank you.
So we got affirmation ahead of time before we did it, and now it's looking a lot better. There's a couple more things to do, and they'll be added onto the bill too. But once we started having a good dialogue, it became looks like it was going to happen. And thanks for your help on that.
Got to clean it up down there before someone got hurt.
Yeah, and if you could give me a second, I got a little bit
Okay, go ahead.
FEMA information too. When the mayor reached out to all of the state and federal officials, things started to happen, and they just kind of coalesced. And in the last couple of weeks, the problem was the first proposal they had didn't describe what we needed to do. They left out putting the top block. They essentially were saying in their communication that we would leave that top block in the middle of Lake Boulevard. It didn't make any sense. So it took several weeks to convince them that they had missed a few things, and the mayor did his thing with the United States senators, the United States congressmen, the local state people, and then they started to coalesce and things started to happen. I did my thing with my contacts in the engineering and so forth, and they revised the scope. They agreed with us, and we now have a scope that's very, very close to what we need. And then the boss of all of the people I've talked to gave me a call and said, we will make it happen. So we have a promise at the highest level of state emergency management services that we're very close and it's going to happen. So mayor's cautioning us that, people saying that is one thing, actually writing a check is another thing. So hopefully we'll get to the check situation fairly soon. We want it to be built right and built safe, and we can't, there's no way we could afford to do that. It was a disaster. The councilman raises a point for, so far, we could talk about that maybe at a private meeting. There is a defense for that, probably, so we have to recognize that. It would be best, the FEMA has recognized that it's their responsibility. Now the discussion is, what are we going to do? So I think we should try to stay on that track as far as we can, and before we switch to the other, which might be a long shot.
Okay.
Thank you.
Don't leave. I have one more for you. I've had several residents from Nevin Street call me, and they were promised, as they said, 3 years ago, that Nevin Street would be repaved.
And those same people on Evan Street promised me that we would never have a pandemic this year. And
I know.
So it's a switch. No, I apologize to the people on Evan Street. It is on the mayor and my list to take care of. We have Grant Avenue, Monroe, things like that are, we're going to, I talked with Councilman Williams today. He's set us up with shared services in past years, and it's been a tremendous cooperation between the county and the city and other surrounding communities. We're not going to have that this year. We finally have a commitment to not have a commitment. And so we have to do it within our own means, which we used to do before the councilman was able to get us involved in that. I'm sure next year we can rejoin that, but for now we're going to contract out Nevins, we're going to contract out Grant, things like that. We'll put a program together for the mayor's approval and take a look at the monies that we have within CHIPS and things like that and get those done with a contracted method.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I just have one more. I had several complaints from people that live off of Lakefront Boulevard, and I posted to Don and the chief about the jet skiers out on and getting the sheriff's boat back in. Can you tell us anything? Did you talk to the?
Yes, I did. I spoke with the mayor about this today as well. He had concerns on it as well as everyone else. I did speak with the sheriff about it and asked him if they could get the Marine Patrol out. I advised them that from the complaints they seemed to be younger age, possibly children, and they were out when it was dark with no lights, and it's a safety issue. So they will do the best they can to get the patrols out there and address it.
But they had made other commitments to be on other bodies of water.
And they'll get them out here when they have the availability.
Yeah, because we only have a couple more weeks of really summer, and I know they want to get the best out of it. And
I'll stay in touch with the sheriff on it and do the best I can.
thanks, thank you. It just it's very difficult, and I know Randy's and the mayor, everybody's got their hands tied with this virus and how it's taken 25 steps backward, but it's just, please, our residents need to be patient with the city on what they can get accomplished this year, and maybe after the first of the year, we can do more work. Don't you agree, Mayor?
Yes.
I mean, it's just, they're being patient to this point, but please be patient a little bit longer, and then have a very safe Labor Day. Go ahead, Don.
All right. I talked with DPW Director Woodbury earlier about the drainage and stuff over in the First Ward, in the east end of it, Mr. Sullivan's house. We stopped at his house and took a look back there, and he's wondering when. You had mentioned, I think, August or September for that project, and he hasn't heard anything, so he's a little anxious. And our good friend Mr. McCoyak on Cedar Street, he's been patiently waiting, as Councilwoman Nichols says, for about 4 years or more to try to get something done over there. So if you have an update for either of those two men on when anything's going to happen, that would be great.
Yeah, Councilman, happy to update on that. Before I do that, I'd just like to do a shout out to another thing that you've mentioned before is the high brush along Main Street, and I'd like to do a shout out to Steve Zatorsky in the Parks Division, who's done a brush hog backing in, and I would say Main Street looks very clear these days. We're getting a lot of compliments about that, and I'd like to, everybody in DPW that works so hard for the city, I'd like to thank, but Steve is the one that always goes beyond and does a very careful job, and so I'd like to thank on that. And then for the drainage issue on over with Mr. Sullivan's house, we met with him. I talked with Mr. Propelia today, and we have another issue over in the 2nd Ward on Brigham Road that needs a similar type of excavator. I talked with the mayor this afternoon. We looked into renting one because shared services at any kind of degree that we normally would share one of these large excavators with either the state or the county, they're not available this year because the county and state are behind as well. So we're going to rent an excavator, do that project, fix the culvert on Wright Park Drive that's been broken for a while with the same type of equipment, and then get over and fix that culvert over on Brigham Road as well. So Mr. Propelia was very helpful with the discussion today, and he's working on a plan for all of those things so that we can rent this equipment and use it efficiently. So we do have that. As far as the extension over with Mr. Merkowiak, it's certainly in the plan. We wanted to do that with Wright Park Phase 2 because it's going to be a combined one-way street from the Ounce and Otter area over to Wright Park, and then not be able to enter from Wright Park so that it wouldn't increase the traffic. But it would also have a bicycle path, and it should be designed by an architect that Rebecca has hired. So that architect is working on the plan. If Mr. Merkowiak would give us just a little bit more time, that whole project is slated to be done next spring now. We probably could do a Band-Aid type thing now, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would recommend that we wait and show him the design. Get him and his neighbors to buy in on the design, get that out to bid first thing in the spring and get that project done. So we have been thinking about it, and Rebecca and her team have been thinking about it, and a consultant as well.
Okay, and in the meantime, could we maybe get to the end of there? Because I guess the brush is all grown in around that guide rail that's at the end there that blocks the road off.
I will ask Mr. Zatorsky if he can do his perfect touch on things like that, and it'll turn out great. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
I also want to mention, Councilman Vomano touched on the group a little bit ago. If anybody's been driving down 3rd Street at all and looked at the side of the old Regent building, there's a group called Small Towns, Big Minds, and they did a fundraiser, and they got a lot of money together to pay a former art teacher from the Dunkirk school system that's an artist and does murals all over the place. So there's a great looking mural that's going up on the side of the Regent. I just want to, give a shout out to those guys. They're young mid-20-somethings that are, they stick around the city of Dunkirk and they want to do good by the city of Dunkirk, and I think that's great. And hopefully, when we get back to full capacity that we could have in the council room, I hope that we could bring them in to thank them properly for what they did over there, and maybe poke the mayor a little and say maybe you could give them maybe some type of certificate, whatever, at the time, whatever it may be. Just, it looks great down there. Whoever hasn't seen it, drive by the Regent, take a look. They're still working on it. They had several people painting it today when I went by on the way to the meeting, and it looks really great. So I just want to give a shout out to them. Roger, what is there that we could do? We had a little bit of text back and forth. What is it that we can do to help the personnel department? I think you mentioned before that there was a second personnel director spot available or something. I don't know what all we could do. I'm not saying that that's what we will do, but if there's something that we could do to help take some slack off of your office, I guess you gotta just let us know what it is that we could do.
Councilman, I thank you for your concern. Due to COVID this year, the department was really stressed out. With the seasonal hirings, lifeguards, and not knowing whether beaches would be open, with the two of us, there was a lot more we had to do than normally. It would be good to have at least one more part-time person in the department. That would definitely help us out. You know, human resources, you never know what your workload is going to be because you never know what's going to go on.
All right.
But,
I'm sure we can talk about that at the next personnel committee meeting and see what we have. I know that we talked through email and we might come up with some ideas of what the actual needs are. Go ahead, Councilman.
Yeah, another question to that. Mr. Mayor, do you have any ideas what we can do to help out that department?
Well, I think Roger can attest to the fact that things were rolling pretty good before this year started. I'm not going to beat a dead horse, but we are in desperate need of an HR director. The funding for that was taken out. The position has been abolished. And so, in my opinion, we are in desperate need of an HR director. Currently, the HR department has been doing their very best, and we do get behind in that department with certain issues. Last week or a week and a half ago, we had two individuals that retired. Both came to me with complaints about the process for retirement and just issues that were happening, and we can't blame our personnel department. They have two people in there who are working as hard as they can. In my opinion, to answer your question, I think that what we would need in there is an HR director. So if we want to move forward with that plan, please let me know and I can start to do the search process.
Thank you.
I just want to ask, as long as, Mayor, as long as you're there, I would just like to, sorry, Don, just ask the mayor, for the city of Dunkirk, what exactly would be or are the responsibilities of a human resource director? A director is that person that's in charge of it. Is the director going to be the one that's going to do the actual hands-on work to help them to ease their workload, or are they just going to sit behind an office and give them directions of what to do?
Well, that's a good question that you pose. What are the duties and responsibilities of an HR director? I can say to you that personally, myself as mayor, I don't know the answer to the question.
Good answer.
I can only say to you that there is a lot of things that are supposed to be happening that are not happening that would be under the direction of the HR director. If you were to ask me what is the duties and responsibilities of our police chief or our fire chief or our DPW director or our city attorney or our development director, I would have to say to you that I don't really know, but I know that they're needed. So the HR director position, as you know, we did have an individual in that position, and he was doing a good job, to say the least. The department was flowing very competently. They were doing a good job. I would suggest again that maybe we should look at the position. If you guys want to meet, we can meet, look at the duties and responsibilities of an HR director. But I've done the research on this, and there's been other paperwork that we provided before when we created the position, and it shows that an HR director is used in most municipalities of our size.
Thank you.
Also, like Judge brought up before, when this all was going on, we could also use sheriff services if we ever bring someone in with the district or even the housing authority. or other little districts.
Well, we were looking at that right after the first of the year, but that wasn't, that wasn't able to go forward for some reason. I just wondered, because I had a few back and forths with Roger on email, and I was alerted that they've been a little stressed, so I had told them that I'd bring it up and see what we could do to try to help. So, again, I sit on personnel, and I forget who else is on there, but I think judges, but we can talk about that at the next meeting, and all the council members and everybody are welcome to attend to that. Randy and Rebecca, probably back when we started those Zoom meetings, we talked about putting a sign up at the pier so that it would kind of say like the rules of it, so we didn't have to have no parking signs all over the pier. Also, some people in the community had suggested stenciling the step up and step down for the sidewalk thing there. It's been probably about 4 or 5 months, and the sign's not up there, and the step up, step down isn't up there. I'm just wondering, I get it that we might be a little bit backed up, but can anybody give me a realistic time frame of when any of these things are going to happen?
Step up, step down is an excellent idea. Engineering technician Andy Bone has the stencils for that, and he now has the paint color from the development assistant director, so we'll get to that right away. And let's see, the other was the entrance sign to the pier. I think I'll work with the development director so that she can use her artistic ability to design something, and then we have a sign shop where we can make that and put it up. I think, as the chief suggested, we have one sign at the beginning of the pier that it has all the rules and regulations that are enforceable, and then put it there so we don't hurt the aesthetics of the rest of the drive.
Same thing with the point.
And there's a few other, many things we want to address within that. So I will work on that and try to get it done in the next couple of weeks.
All right, and we would want, I think, a similar sign at the point, I think we had talked about before?
Yeah, there are some signs at the point. Unfortunately, they face west, so they've been getting a lot of wind and they're pretty faded.
Okay.
So we'll replace those. I think we'll take a look at them, see if they need any update. I'll take a picture of them, send them to the chief, the two chiefs, and see if there's anything else I should add to them, and we'll get those up as well.
Because Chief, if they just had right at the beginning of the point and it said, no parking on the lawn, is that good enough there so we don't need the signs all over?
One entrance, as long as we notify that they cannot park on the grass, we can tag them for not obeying proper signage in the park, whatever we can do for parking issues. And I would agree with that, because we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
I don't like 1,000 signs. I think
Neither.
One sign with the rules, I think, but the entrance will suffice to notify people what the park rules
Is that
are.
gonna cover
If they
no
violate
driving in the
those,
grass?
we can tag them.
Oh, Christ.
Judge?
Yes.
Didn't we bring that up at safety, the last safety meeting?
Yeah, David's got, right now, the portable sign is there.
Okay.
That's what his objective is, to get one at the beginning of the point, but for the time being, he's brought back the movable one. You can't help but see it, so.
Anybody says they don't know they shouldn't park on
Well,
the grass, they need bifocals.
They shouldn't be driving.
No, that's right.
They're blind.
Is Gabe around at all anywhere here still? All right. Does he know, can he hear us? Can he come in at all, or, because they've had some, I've had a lot of calls of complaints about people not being able to hear when they watch it on the access channel. And I just wanted him to kind of explain it. I kind of gave him a heads up. While I'm waiting for him, I had one other thing to discuss. While Mr. Sullivan was talking to me about the drainage in the back part of his property, he also discussed with me his I don't know, his objection, I guess we'd say, to the proposal by Mr. Burns in communication number 2. Mr. Sullivan goes there often, and when he sees people parked in different areas, he drives up there to check it out, and they don't have handicap stickers. If they do, they have like a little plaque that you can buy from a store that's not really, I do believe they got to go through your office or have the plate, right? Or a police department to have it signed off.
Most have gone away from handicap plates, but you have to have the official New York State DMV tag in your window.
So if we can check that, because I guess they're buying some little disc or something, almost like you put it somewhere to say it's a handicap spot, instead of putting it in your car on the dashboard saying that you can park there. And just to put it out there, the reason why that's such a pet peeve to Mr. Sullivan is because he does have the handicap plates, and he is worried about that. So, Gabe, like we talked before the meeting, if you could just give an update on why there isn't sound coming through, or maybe there's been a change and now there is sound coming through. I've had a lot of complaints from people that watch this on Access 12, not through the YouTube thing, but just watch it on Access 12, and they say that they can't hear us. So they say, I want you to say something, but I'm not going to be able to hear you anyways because we can't ever hear what you guys are saying.
Yeah, I have people that monitor the channel sometime, and I check in when I get a complaint, and they would say, yeah, the volume been low, the volume been very low during a council meeting, and so I would turn it up here, and then they would tell me it's fine. Then I had other complaints too. I had another complaint. Someone said that it was low, and then they went and checked their grandmother's TV, and the TV was messed up, so they had to fix the audio cord or something like that. So,
okay.
But I think there is an issue at the high school, so we're going to go and see what we can do. If we can't do anything, we got to get in touch with Spectrum.
Okay. All right, thanks, Gabe.
I just have two things.
Right, you're kidding.
Just two things?
Just two, just,
All right, Councilwoman Nichols just has two things.
no, I just want to know if the moving sign down at the boardwalk down there can just have something to the visitors as a reminder of wearing face masks while you're visiting our city. I mean, they still have the boat race on there, but I mean, we just need people, and people do look at it when they're at the lights. If that, and the mural that Don was talking about, I did stop and talk with her today. She did teach our schools, middle and high school. She's from Eden. She went to California and did a lot of painting there. And they raised money through a GoFundMe. And what it is today, they've got hands that are the trunk of a tree, and they're every color of the people of the city of Dunkirk. And the leaves are going to be the world. And then she's going to have, the kids are painting the different countries that brought Dunkirk to be, whether it be Ireland, Poland, Puerto Rico, and that's what's going to be on there as well. If you have a moment, just go to park in the parking lot at St. Elizabeth and watch the kids do it. It's just a wonderful experience. And Joe Ward's doing a cover story on it.
And $100 gets your name on a brick. That's what I heard, so.
Buy a brick.
That's not on Lakeshore Humane.
No, it was down there. If you made a donation of $100 or more cash, then you got your name on a brick. All right, I'm done with mine. Anybody else got anything, since we had a good little discussion here on a lot of things? All right, unfinished business.
Unfinished business, we have number 85, resolution for intro number 7 to local law number 7-2020, City of Dunkirk, a local law to amend City Code, Chapter 76, Section 70.
Make a motion to take it off the table.
Councilwoman Nichols makes a motion to take it off the table.
Second.
Second by Councilman Stoyl.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Okay, it's off the table. Any discussion on the resolution? I think we had a lot of that at the public hearing. So, hearing no discussion, clerk, please call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried. Forgot about that. Pre-filed resolutions.
Number 86, resolution authorizing change for the 1st September 2020 Common Council meeting.
Any discussion?
Make a motion.
You don't need one.
Second.
Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried.
Number 87, resolution accepting contract for Willowbrook Storage Tank Transmission Main under 2009 consent order.
Any discussion?
Make a motion.
Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams.
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto.
Aye.
Councilmember Stoll.
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols.
Aye.
Carried.
There was a change made on this?
Thanks, Ed.
You want to just read the change? You want to just read the change? Just added my name. Wonderful. Well, I guess since all we did was
Happy with this.
add an extra sponsor for it, then we don't really need to do too much with amending it, do we? Okay.
In resolution number 88, resolution authorizing renewal agreement with State of New York Unified Court System, City Court Cleaning and Minor Repairs, contract number Charlie 3005457, April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021.
Any discussion? Oh, Clerk,
Make a
please call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember
Aye.
Stoyl? Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Carried. Any new business? Hearing none, motion to adjourn. Oop. Wait. We're good. Motion adjourned by Councilman Stoyl, second by Councilwoman Nichols. Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Williams?
Aye.
Councilmember Bamanto?
Aye.
Councilmember Stoyl?
Aye.
Councilmember Nichols?
Aye.
Good, Christ.
Meeting adjourned, 6:37 PM.